Another busy week in Ethereum news with Vitalik Buterin writing two separate blog posts that are very much worth reading. Let's dive in. Okay, first we're going to start with layer 1 news, and this is just news across the main layer 1 Ethereum blockchain. We're going to start with Ultrasound Money. This is the website that tracks how much supply of Ethereum is being created or destroyed. We see in the last 7 days that the supply is still going down. So more ETH is being burned than is being created. This makes it the most secure and the most economically sustainable blockchain, far more than Bitcoin and any other chain. Next, we're going to see the first blog post this week from Vitalik calling the community to make Ethereum cypherpunk again. This is worth digging into to learn a little bit about the history of Bitcoin and Ethereum and understanding the early vision of Web3 and sort of just really a call to the community to come back to its values and focus on, open participation, decentralization, censorship resistance, auditability, credible neutrality, and much more. And so that's worth taking a look at. Another post was on ETH Research Forum. This is where a lot of research on Ethereum is done. Thousands of individuals around the world share their thoughts on research. And Vitalik posted about how we may want to move the Ethereum proof of stake system into a sort of different direction that is less complex and more simple and better for the chain long term. It avoids systemic complexity. So go ahead and take a look at that. He proposes 3 different approaches. Number 1 is to go all in on decentralized staking pools. Number 2 would be to have 2-tiered staking. Or number 3, to have rotating participation, committees that are accountable. So this is quite deep of a post and thoughts in general, but if you are an investor and researcher, it's worth staying and paying attention to this. Next is the ecosystem news. First, we have news from Optimism. This is the layer 2 on top of Ethereum that, is here to scale Ethereum's technology and values. They mentioned that they are pioneering a path towards a collaborative superchain ecosystem where all chains are on an equal playing field. And so, as you know, Coinbase, Base Chain, Lisk, a whole bunch of different teams are starting to build on the Optimism stack, the OP stack, and are going to be creating one single superchain vision. So if you want to understand that vision and how it's going to be a positive sum for the ecosystem, go ahead and read that blog post. Next is Parallel Network. This is the first omni-chain L2 blockchain that unifies liquidity across all chains. And so the Parallel Network is built on Arbitrum, and they want to basically unify liquidity from any chain into one place. So you'll have one account, instant liquidity across any chain. And so Arbitrum is one of the other big layer 2s. They're actually the number 1 layer 2, bigger than Optimism. And they have the ability for teams to spin up their own layer 2 chains using the Arbitrum tech stack, and Parallel is one of the new ones. And then we have Pixel Vault. Pixel Vault are the creators of the Punks comics and the Heroes PV, a few different DeFi NFT projects that were really big last cycle. And they're saying, send it. The battle plan is coming January 19th. And this is actually going to be another Arbitrum chain, so an Orbit chain. So if you are paying attention, again, Arbitrum ecosystem is growing, and these are layer 2s and layer 3s on top of Ethereum. And then Scroll. Scroll is the first native zkEVM on Ethereum. This is another layer 2. They were just showing some appreciation and celebration for the immense growth since their launch. And since launch, they've had, 9 million total transactions across more than 2 million users with more than 1 million smart contracts deployed and, 2 million plus blocks. And all of this obviously settles on Ethereum, the layer 1. So exciting to see layer 2 ecosystem flourishing. And then we have Aave. Aave is the protocol that is open source for non-custodial liquidity. So you can buy, swap, lend, etc. all in one platform. They just mentioned that Aave Governance V3 is live, and that's built by a sort of a subsidiary. I don't know. I think it's Board Ghost developers. So some of the original developers of Aave left and formed a new company, and they have built the new V3 governance system. So Aave is a decentralized protocol that owners can vote and control, and there is the new upgrade of the system. And then finally, we have Infinex. They are a new platform built with the Synthetix protocol on top of Base, the Coinbase Layer 2 blockchain that is built with Optimism tech stack. And it allows you to trade perpetuals. So it blends the best of DeFi with fast and familiar Web 2 user experience. It's self-custodial, it's trustless, it's transparent. So Synthetix has continued to have teams build on top of its technology. And it's just great to see the value stack that is built through Ethereum to grow more and more and more. And then a little news on the security front, zkSync, this is another layer 2 on Ethereum. It had an issue where some automated safety procedures were triggered and the blockchain was sort of halted and had some network issues. So you can go ahead and read this if you want to learn what happened. I believe everything was safe. No funds were ever at risk. And so it's just good to see that, the anti-fragileness of these systems continue to push forward. And then Thunder Terminal, this allows you to trade on chain across Ethereum, Solana, Arbitrum, and a few other chains. They mentioned that there was a malicious actor who got access to their database or at least the connection URL. And so, they're saying no private keys or wallets were compromised, but it's just something to be careful of. If you're allowing other platforms to trade on your behalf and you are not controlling the private keys, you are at risk. And then we have Trail of Bits. Trail of Bits is, since 2012, they have been one of the strongest research firms in the space. So they do research across security and they also do auditing. They posted a long blog post about Ethereum's ABI, the application binary interface, and they kind of explained what it was and a bug that exists inside of it and how they could potentially, or someone could potentially sort of attack it. And so if you're very interested in security, go ahead and read this. It's just good to know that smart people are overlooking the entire ecosystem to protect, and it just makes it stronger and stronger. And then this gentleman, Sudo, he mentioned that he was bored and he wanted to break some block explorers. Block explorers are what allow you to look at your transactions on the blockchain and see all of the blockchain data. And he sort of mentioned that he was able to deploy a contract with a view function that wasn't quite verified. So I'm not totally understanding what this is, but if you are a security person who's interested, you can go ahead and dig in there and see what happened. And then finally, a little bit of news on the regulation and corporate front. The SEC has charged Barnbridge DAO with essentially having an unregistered offer of securities as well as selling structured financial products. So Barnbridge DAO was created by Tyler Ward and Trey Murray, and it was a platform that originally launched with a yield farm in sort of DeFi summer of 2020, and it allowed you to tranche out your assets. So if you wanted to borrow or lend, it had various tranches to manage risk, and it's quite great design, but it also in the US is a structured structured financial product. So they paid $1.5 million in payment, which was the proceeds from the original sales. And then they also each had to pay $125,000 out of their own money. Tyler has been known to make a lot of different projects. He's probably made 3 to 5 plus in the last 5 years. So I assume $125K to him is nothing. And so, in the US, a lot of the time, the cost of doing business, you make a lot more than you get charged, which is why sometimes bad actors, in this case, I don't think they're bad actors, but sometimes bad actors can do really bad things and pay a small fee and keep going. That's the US financial system for you and why we're trying to build something new and better with Ethereum. So that was all for this week in Ethereum news. Go ahead and subscribe if you want to stay up to date. Thank you.